Welcome to the Stronger Together podcast brought to you by Sandpoint Strength and Conditioning. I'm your coach, Kenny Marquardt, and today I'm joined by Coach Lisa House. Lisa runs our Lift and Thrive program, which is a women's only, strength only group. And I have her on today to talk about women's training, especially women in their later years, which I still have yet to find the right term for. But yeah, I wanted to have Lisa on to talk about that. It's an exciting subject because it is very different, and I think that we're really starting to see some pretty sweet results and some incredible progress with people by changing the way that they're doing things. So I wanted to have her on to talk about what she's been doing and what women should be thinking about as they go through their own training. Enjoy. We're here with Coach Lisa House today, and I wanted to talk to her about training for women especially, and especially women who are a little bit, I don't want to say old. Definitely don't want to say old. I want to say later in life. I'm not sure what the...
Not 20.
What do you say? Not 20? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Real. We're real life women, not college age women who have no responsibilities and kick-ass metabolisms and only time to just do whatever they want. Not that. I want to talk about people who have real life things. The kids are probably getting a little bit older. They've probably seen their bodies changing. They're seeing some things happen that would cause them to need to train differently, probably eat differently and do some things differently. And I wanted to chat with you about that because that is definitely not my specialty. And I think it's getting more and more attention. It's not my forte. I think there's a lot to be said for like walking a path and then turning around and helping people down that path. And I can confidently say that I have not been down the path of being a woman who needs to change the way she trains later in life. I can assure you of that. So yeah.
Unfortunately, you can't come to the class.
No, perfect. Yeah, good. I don't think you guys want me in there anyways. So it's probably better. But yeah, because you have been running a class for what, 7 months or 6 or 7 months now? No, it must be longer than that.
Actually, it's about 9 months.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is a women specific group. And here, why don't I let you kind of elaborate a little bit on it? So
it's a women only class, typically 45 and above, and it's just a great way to build camaraderie and work out with people that are sharing the same struggles that you are at this point in your life, which is usually a slower metabolism, trying to find time to get your old self back, which isn't really what we're after. We're here to meet you where you're at right now and make you the best version of yourself that you are now. There's no going back. It's just creating a new you, accepting you where you're at in your life, and making yourself stronger and more resilient.
Totally. And I think, again, this is all conjecture and just speculation on my part, but what I've tended to see is that a lot of the women in that group have had kids and are now at a point where they don't. Like, I think an unfortunate side is like their entire focus of life tended to be their kids, which is great. But at the same time, like, they haven't been able to devote the focus to themselves and their own improvement as they probably would want to. And like you said, I think what I'm referring to is that it's not going back. It's like excitedly going forward. Yeah. Being able to do all these cool things that you guys I'm watching you guys do in this class.
Right. Finding a new path forward is probably a better way of saying it. And they are all moms. Their kids are older, at least 8th grade and above, or actually out of the house, and they've just been away from working out for so long. They've decided to come back, and this is a good fit for them. So it still fits in the demographic of the age group that we're shooting for, but it's basically women who are just at a point where they're taking their life back. It's becoming more about them. They have to focus less on other people. And it's a really amazing group of women that are there right now. I love them a lot.
Yeah, it is. I always hear you guys laughing from the other room.
Yeah.
And I try and not bother you people.
Yeah, I mean, we have a good time. That's kind of the point, working out and making friends and making memories and, just getting strong and sharing the burdens that we have for that day or that week. It's good. We have a lot of our kids are adult children are in the same age group, so we get to talk about, hey, what's that like? We get to share nutrition struggles or just, life struggles because we're all in the same boat. It's good to have that sounding board, so we have a really good time in there.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you said, 45 plus, but I think when we originally launched this, we had a bit of a challenging time figuring out the actual, because it's not a hard number, which it still isn't. We kind of use that as a rough guideline, but like, what are women starting to see when they should start to think about doing a class like this? Like, what does that look like for their feel like, or
so most of the women in the class, the high output cardio, like the HIIT style workouts, just aren't working for them. They've been going to those classes, or they used to go to those classes, and they've quit because they're not seeing any success. They're not seeing any changes in their body. They're working really hard, but they're still struggling with the midline area, or what we like to lovingly call our bat wings.
Bingo arms is somebody. Yeah, bingo arms is, I think, my favorite. Mike Bergner he said his wife has a class called Wham. It was Women Against Bingo Arms. It was pretty good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Sorry, I cut you off, but yeah, bingo arms, kind of bat wings, bingo arms.
So they're just seeing that the traditional, or what people see as the traditional workout, isn't giving them any benefits. They're not seeing any changes in their body, and it's making them discouraged instead of encouraging them forward down the path of building muscle mass and increasing their longevity.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, so the class is a lot different. It really focuses on pure strength building. We don't do, any snatches or power cleans or anything like that. It focuses on pure strength movements, and we lift hard enough that is where we get our cardio from. It's a really safe and controlled but fun environment.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
I love, I think CrossFit, I'm sure there were other things, but the CrossFit kind of pulled a lot of women out of the cardio only room where they were doing 45 to an hour of treadmill work or whatever, elliptical, whatever it was.
Ugh.
And then it pulled them into more high intensity stuff, which I think in some fashions was good to get women moving in the strength domain. I don't think that was the original intent. I think that initially high intensity was supposed to be more effective in less time kind of a thing.
Right.
But I don't know how effective it is, especially in the age group that we're talking about, the intensity side of things, the high stress, high cortisol. That is not necessarily it might not be the best thing, but the strength work that what they were introduced to, and how we got so many women into the weight room to do things like you guys are doing in that class. I think this is a very mature, no pun intended, evolution of how they're training.
Right.
And I think, like you said, the strength only stuff is just such a good, it's where they start to see so many amazing benefits. In fact, before we got on, you were talking about a DEXA scan from one of the people in the group, right? What was that? Tell me that again, just because I got to
one of the members had a DEXA scan before joining the class, and they recently had a second DEXA scan, and their bone density has increased immensely. So they're on the healthier side of it. Their doctor was really happy and encouraging them to continue to do the same thing that they've been doing. So you don't hear that very often either, where doctors are happy to hear specifically women lifting weights. So this class is perfect for that. It really has immense health benefits for people. And it's not to say the other styles of workout are wrong or inappropriate for women that are over 45. This is just a different style of working out for women that have tried the other variation and it just hasn't worked for them.
Yeah. I think people really forget how much of an individual organism all of us are, regardless, age, male, female. I think we all respond differently to different things. And I think people may try one form of fitness. If it doesn't work, that doesn't mean fitness doesn't work. It means that style might not work for you. And so, like you said, a lot of people in that group have been in another kind of fitness, maybe in some of our group classes at the gym here, but they've moved into that because that just agrees with their bodies better, and they're seeing more and more results. It's just more fun, probably.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about more fun, but it is a lot of fun. And we do have some people that were members of our gym previously that are now a part of the Lift and Thrive class. And then we have members of Lift and Thrive that have just been out at your typical box gym and weren't seeing the results. And we have a member that's just been out of it for a while. She's been busy raising her family, and now she's coming back and seeing tremendous progress. She's a hoot.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So bone density is one thing we talked about, which to elaborate on that a little bit, can you talk about the mechanism of how that happens? Like, in other words, why strength work is so important for women to preserve bone density?
I think strength work is important to be strong, to be independent, to have solid joints and be able to move throughout your life without needing any assistance from people. I mean, it's good to have that support system, but I want to be able to, raise my grandkids over my head. I want to be able to hike until I'm 90. I want to be able to do things for myself if I choose to. And that's what lifting weights and building your skeletal muscle mass will do for people.
Yeah. So I don't think I phrased that question very well, but to explain so the more of a load you put on your body, the more it's going to adapt.
Correct.
And I'm going to steal the whatever from you just because, again, I don't think I worded it very well. But when you put load on the body, it's going to, the bones are going to get stronger because they're going to adapt. Like that's
correct.
They're going to feel the load and they're going to say, okay, we need to lay down more cells within these and we're going to become more robust. So that's how people fix their bone density issues. And it happens time and time again. We were actually talking about another client.
Right.
In addition to the one you said or referred to a second ago. And that's just through getting under weights and performing compound lifts. Mm-hmm. They will strengthen their bones, and therefore when and if they take a tumble, whether they're doing something kick ass like skiing down the mountain or they slip on the ice, like their bones are more capable of surviving impacts and not breaking, which is great.
Right. And I've heard a lot of commentary in our class about that. Like, hey, I was falling off my truck bed. I was loading hay. I was falling off my truck bed and I was able to catch myself. I didn't fall down. I mowed 1.5 acres of grass with a push mower and I was able to go through the rest of my day. I did fall on the ice and I didn't break anything. So it really does benefit women, everybody in general, but women specifically, to build skeletal muscle mass, to do those compound movements, to deadlift, to bench press, to lift things overhead. It could save your life.
Totally. And so you just talked about like the functionality of what you guys are doing in this. I think there's like more than anything like the self-reliance. I think that it really commands once you have the ability to manipulate your body and you be able to manipulate other things and you have the capabilities to do things. I think that's about like self-reliance, right? Like you are a great example. Like you go, I'll do all sorts of wacky things in the woods on your own. And I don't know, like I feel like you've kind of been wired that way, but would you feel as confident without the strength that you have to do those things?
No. I mean, if I wasn't wacky and I wasn't.
I don't think I said you were wacky. I think I said you do wacky
things.
Just to be.
I don't think I would feel as self-reliant or confident. I would feel fearful about, being on my own in certain situations. I would feel like all the what ifs would creep in, like what if I fell, or what if I couldn't hike out of here? What if, this happened or that? I would make up all of these terrible things in my mind of what ifs, and I don't have to do that. I know I can get myself off a mountain. I know I can carry all my groceries in without, stumbling. I know I can shovel my driveway, and if I fall down, that I can get back up. So it's been really life-changing for me. I know people my age that don't have that. And I watch people my age or slightly older than me, and they don't have it. You can see it in their body that they're struggling. They're struggling to mow their yard. They're struggling to, get off their bike, gone for the bike ride, but they're having a hard time getting off the bike or for the rest of their day. Like, I see it in my neighborhood.
Yeah. Yeah. Me too. And I think it's where you start to get not only you start to turn down activities that you may have enjoyed. Like I see this a lot where people that were big presences in my early life, like they're no longer saying yes to things. And I'm fortunate to see my mom doing cool stuff at
Yeah, your
her
mom's
age.
awesome.
But yeah, she's still saying yes, and it's I think because of like she has that self confidence to, like you said, just either self rescue or that she's got the strength to manage. And I
Yeah.
think that allows for you to be able to do the wacky things like the ruck race you're getting ready for.
I know. I mean, and that's part of it. So, with confidence, I signed up for the longest leg. I'm the oldest person in my group by at least 10 years. So I can do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on the convert, like even down further down that windows, like the fear thing, like I've started to see that with people too, where like they don't, it's not only that they don't want to say yes to things that they used to want to, but now they're scared to do anything. They don't want to travel. They don't want to,
Right.
leave the house. They don't want to do things alone, which, for me, I'm pretty independent. That would be really hard.
Yeah. And then what happens to their quality of life? They're
Right.
stuck inside all the time, and everybody has to come to them, which people don't do for extended periods of time.
Yeah.
So then they're siloed off in their house and they lose their sense of community and their sense of independence, and they live in fear and loneliness.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I throw this stat around that I butcher every single time, but
Oh.
do you know the one where it's like if somebody falls and breaks their hip, or I guess whether they fall or not, they break their hip after 55, the 5-year survival rate's like half or less. Are you aware? Do you know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
I think it is. I thought it was like 60% or something, but I could be horribly wrong.
Yeah, no,
pretty low.
it's something like that. Like half the people, if you break your hip after 50, you have a 50% chance of not surviving 5 years after that. And I think it's really like, I don't know if that computes for people right away, but like you have to really sit there and think of why and how that happened. And I think it's like, the surgery's hard on you for one at a more advanced age, especially if you're not in shape. And then two is that you just have lost your self-reliance. Like, so you are no longer able to get yourself around. You have been, you're more dependent upon other people. And then I think
Right.
it just cascades down from there. And so, the two things that we were just talking about, the self-reliance and the bone density side of things, can prevent that from happening to you, and having, just an everyday kind of slip on the ice be the first step towards an early death, which is kind of
Right.
wild.
Or if you do fall, you're able to recover faster. You already have that self-reliance instilled in you, and you have something to get back to versus not being in shape, not having the community that we have at our gym to support you along the way. So you can get hurt, but you're wired to repair yourself.
Yeah, that's a good point. The return to something that you're looking forward to is probably a really big part about that. I didn't really
Yeah.
consider in my little hypothetical, but you know what I mean? Like that's like, you're right though. Like that's why get up in the morning if you don't have anything you're looking forward to do?
Right.
And if you've lost the capability to do everything you want to, then like you might not care.
Yeah.
You might just kind of slide your way out.
Yeah, I mean, chances are if I fell, I wouldn't break my hip, even
Right.
though I'm over 50. But if I did, my body is strong. It's going to repair faster. It's going to repair better. I'm going to have something that I was doing before that I want to return to. So it's easier to set goals to get back to. You have a community that you want to return to.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so then there's also, we've talked about bone density, we've talked about self-reliance and independence. What about body composition? So more, a little bit more on the vanity side of things, but maybe not.
yeah. It's important. It's important to feel good about the way that you look. And I think the women in my class, they look to see inches or how do your clothes fit, because not all body composition is weight loss. It's putting on muscle, it's losing body fat percentage, it's losing weight, but it could come in a lot of different forms. I've had people get on the scale and not lose weight, but they've gained all of this muscle. Or they get on and the changes aren't what they expected, but they feel better moving throughout their day. Body composition is important to people, but I think what's more important is how you feel about yourself and how you feel going about your day.
Yeah. And I think it's why I brought it up third. I think it's like a super convenient byproduct of the other things. You know what I mean? Like where it's like, oh shit, like I also look better. Like I can do all these cool things. I'm going to live longer. And hot damn, not only that, but I look good too.
Yeah, I mean, they're excited to put on tank tops for the summer. They can finally wear a pair of shorts, you know.
Yeah.
It is stuff like that. But that's what I mean about you feel better about going about your daily life.
Yeah.
You can do those things without thinking about it because you've put on the muscle, you've changed your composition, you've put on the muscle, you've lost body fat, you've lost inches, you feel good.
Yeah. How does that happen? So, like, again, the traditional women's fitness was 45 minutes on a damn
Cardio.
elliptical machine, burning calories. What's the difference between that and strength training where the exertion feels different, but, you know, as you're explaining, they end up having more results? Like, how does that happen? Like physiologically or like body composition, like so strength training translates into a better appearing body. How?
I think just by the style of the workout, because they always have one compound lift in their workout a day, probably more than one. Just the consistency in lifting weight versus spending endless hours on a cardio machine builds that bone density and builds that muscle mass.
Yeah, totally. And so then when they get on the in-body, their basal metabolic rate is higher because they now have more muscle, right?
Right.
And then so they're actually burning calories at rest instead of burning calories actively by, you know, slogging away.
So they work out for that 1 hour.
Yeah.
But that propels their body into this calorie burning area for the rest of the day. They're burning calories. Even if they go home and don't do much of anything, their body, they start their day with that lifting session and their body is burning calories the rest of the day.
Yeah, totally. And then so it's 23 hours or whatever. So say you go to the gym every couple days, like it's burning calories for the next 47 hours. And then obviously doing it while you're in the gym, but
and I think when you get on elliptical or a treadmill, you're burning calories there when you're on the machine and then for a shorter period of time after.
Yeah.
Because your muscles aren't trying to repair anything. They're not trying to regenerate and grow.
Yeah.
So they're not continuing to burn calories as long as a strength session does.
Yep. Yeah. And again, I think that's one of those things that for whatever reason women never were in that side of the gym and now they are. It's
intimidating.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. And but now I think that's like one of the coolest things I've seen is like the empowerment of that, like where it's like I think for a fact that our gym has more women than men. I know that for a fact.
It's true.
Yeah, and but I think it's like that excitement around the results and what they're able to do. I just find that to be super rewarding for me. Again, even though I haven't walked that path, like I think that's really neat, and I like seeing the. I don't know. I just like seeing.
Drop in.
Don't yeah. Huh. I like seeing the look on their like when they. I see it in your group all the time, and I see it in other groups too. But I've always seen that like, holy shit! Like I didn't know I could do that. Like yeah, absolutely. Like holy crap! Look at that.
They have a lot of those moments. They make me proud every day. One of my favorite things they do is there's a class before our class, and if that class runs over by like 2 seconds, they're in there taking their space. Like they feel good there. They want to be there. And I'm just like, yeah, take your space. It's awesome. They are excited to be there. It's the best part of their day. They hate missing it. They message me. They have access to the workouts on their phones so they can work out at a different gym if they can't make it to class. I mean, that's a cool part of the class. And they message me back. They send me videos that they look what I'm doing. I'm working out because they don't want to miss it. It's such a fun, safe environment to get strong.
That's great. What does a normal class look like? And what does a normal week look like? Can you walk through that? Like for, I don't know, maybe there's somebody who's remote, wants to understand how they can, you know, train better as a woman in that age group. Like what would that look like and what are you guys doing?
Yeah. So today we always start with strength. So deadlifting or bench pressing or strict pressing, something like that. So we started with deadlift today and we moved on to an upper body push movement, ring rows, some core work, just a lot of balance and stability work where they have to keep their body nice and tight and engaged the entire time. But the women also have access to an app where I've loaded all of their workouts. And so if they're not able to join, they go on vacation, or they go on a cruise, let's say, and they have a gym on the boat. They can still do the workouts and still be part of our community, even though they're not able to attend the class. So there really is zero excuse for not doing the workouts.
Totally.
So it's really wonderful, and it changes day to day. So we always start with a compound movement like deadlift, and then we end with core strength and conditioning.
Cool.
Yeah.
And what's a good rep range for someone in that group?
We usually do 8 to 12.
Okay.
So if we're doing 4 sets of 8 to 12 and you're able to get to 12 fairly easily, what that tells the women is it's time to increase your weight, and maybe you only make it to 8. But once you make it to 8 comfortably, you add more weight and start working your way back to the 12 rep range. So it's usually between 8 to 12. Some movements are 8 to 10, usually bench press or something overhead like that.
Cool. And rest periods? You guys paying attention to that?
We rest 90 seconds after lifting. It's really important. There are some other movements where we'll do 2 movements together and then we'll rest for like 45 seconds. But rest is built into their programming. It's built into the app. It's really important to rest the appropriate amount of time so you have enough energy and your body's properly recovered to give the next round the best effort that you have.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, that's a great. I think that last piece you just said, I think, is what a lot of people miss. Like, they want to train under fatigue. Like, they don't feel like they're working hard enough if they are resting. But it really, you know what I mean? Like, I find that with even some of my clients now. They're like, I want to go. I'm like, dude, no. Like, you need to do your next set at least as good as your previous set. Or we're just training under fatigue. Like, I want you to actually have the ability to go heavier or better.
Right. Rest is hard.
Yeah, it is. That's good. Yes.
Rest is hard, but that's also where you build the camaraderie in that class, because you can talk to each other, you can encourage each other. It's built into their app, so if they don't hear the little tiny bing, then they don't lift. And they lift hard enough that they want that rest, and that's kind of the goal. Yep. You should be lifting hard enough that your body wants that rest, that you crave that rest. And then you take every second of it and you give it 100%.
That's awesome. And I think, too, like, having a coach like you or the app or, the guidance, I feel still, for me, I can speak to this very specifically. Like, it is just nice to not have to think about it, like, to show up and be like, this is what I'm doing, but also have the coach or the voice saying, like, nope, you are supposed to be resting. Like, you are not supposed to be working. You are supposed to be resting. Now you work. Now you're like, I think there's a lot more decision fatigue in people's lives than they think, where you know what I mean, like, they got to think about all sorts of crap, they got to take care of their families, they got to do all this stuff. It's just really nice to turn that part of your brain off and be like, okay, tell me what to do and I'll just do it.
And I am there for the women. They use the app for the rest timer, but it's also a tool for them to track their progress. So today we deadlifted, next Monday we're going to deadlift, and the app tells them, hey, this is what you did last week. This is what you should be doing this week, which is a great tool to have, because that's another problem people have. They don't pay attention to what they're doing. They don't track what they're doing or what they've done. So the next time they do it, they have no idea where to start. And they undershoot, and then they never progress because they don't keep track.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's awesome. I think I'm such a big advocate for obviously what we do in the gym, but what you're doing is just another layer to that I'm just, I don't know, it just fills me with glee when I watch you guys. It really does. And it's like, I don't know, I don't think most people who know me, well, I think most people who know me would probably recognize that, but I don't know, I'm not exactly the like archetype for being so excited about that, but it is like, I just think I'm so excited by newer or less experienced or unfamiliar people to start getting in the gym and doing things that they should be doing.
Me
and do
too.
them with fun and excitement and when they're laughing. Like, there's nothing that makes me happier than people laughing in the gym when they're also working hard. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's an awesome environment. And that's kind of what that class is about. It's not just people that have always worked out and they know what to do. It's also open to people who have never done anything but really want to do something to better themselves or to better their lives.
Yeah.
So all skill sets are welcome in there.
Yeah. Totally. So let's talk about the specifics, like what times and days and when does
So
this
the
happen? When does this go
class
down?
goes down. The party starts. The party starts at 10:30 to 11:30 on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Cool.
And sometimes we end a little bit early, but typically it is that full hour.
And you are Lisa at sandpointstrength.com. They
Correct.
can get you there, or
They can get me there.
they can
Or
book a no sweat intro on our website.
Correct. They can email contact@sandpointstrength.com.
Yep. All sorts of ways to get in touch with us.
Correct.
But yeah, it's a great thing, and people can try that too. They need a heads up. We need to don't just show up and jump in. But are you cool with people just jump in and try in that class as long as they give you a
absolutely.
forewarning? Yeah, cool.
Yeah, come check it out, try it out, see if it's your jam. It will be, and then you can sign up after you tested it out.
Yeah, love it. Cool. Well, thanks, Lisa. This is you're doing such a cool thing.
Thanks, Kenny.
And thanks for sharing the knowledge and wisdom with all the people out there.
Thanks.
And I will see you just a little bit, I think.
Right.
Yeah, I'll be at the gym in just a minute, so see you then.
Bye.
All right, see ya. All right, guys, thanks for listening. Don't forget, you can join that group by either you're welcome to try a class like you mentioned there at the end, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10:30. You can give us a heads up by contacting Lisa at sandpointstrength.com. Or if you want to book a no sweat intro on our website, you are welcome to do that. It's the button in the upper right corner, and that'll give you an opportunity to come and talk to one of us for a half hour or so, or as long as you need to figure out how we can help. Don't forget that we are brought to you by Momentous Supplements. You can get 15% off of your next order by using Sandpoint Strength, all one word, at livemomentous.com. All right, thanks for listening.